The courtroom buzzed quietly, murmurs, papers shuffling, the ticking of an old clock above the judge's bench. No one noticed the slim boy in a hoodie step inside. No lawyer's badge. No briefcase. Just a calm stare and an odd kind of confidence. The bailiff frowned, whispering, "Kid, you're in the wrong room." But the boy didn't turn back. At the front, Judge Whittaker leaned forward. "Is this some kind of joke?" he asked. The courtroom chuckled. The teenager didn't. They didn't know yet. This was. Judge Whittaker, old school and sharp-tongued, sighed as the case file hit his desk. "Another street kid pretending to play smart," he muttered. He stared down at the teen, 18 at most, wearing sneakers that had seen better days. "Where's your attorney, son?" The teen cleared his throat. "I'll be representing myself, Your Honor." Laughter burst from the benches. Even the prosecutor smirked, but not the judge. His eyes narrowed. "You'll what?" The teen nodded, steady. "I've read the charges." The courtroom wasn't quiet anymore. A hum of disbelief ran through the pews like static. Someone whispered, "Who let him do that?" Another leaned in, "Maybe he's some YouTube prankster." The bailiff looked concerned, but Judge Whittaker? He was enjoying the chaos. "Proceed, Mr. Lucas." "Just Lucas." "Of course," Whittaker said, sarcasm dripping like molasses. Lucas walked to the defendant's table, opened a worn notebook, and said, "Let's begin with the timeline, shall we?" People stared. "He-SPO." Lucas moved with awkward grace, shoulders tense but words smooth. He laid out facts, timestamps, camera angles, gaps in witness statements. The prosecutor's smile thinned. Whittaker raised an eyebrow. "Are you quoting Jenkins versus Alabama?" Lucas nodded, flipping to a highlighted page. "The same precedent applies here. You ruled on a similar case 6 years ago." Now the room really leaned in. Whittaker cleared his throat. "That ruling was sealed." Lucas smiled faintly. "Yes. But not forgotten." Sutta. Prosecutor Danner had won 47 straight cases. He didn't blink at mobsters, but Lucas? Lucas rattled him. Every time Danner posed a question, Lucas flipped it, politely, back on him. "Are you suggesting the officer lied?" "No sir, I'm saying his body cam footage vanished for 2 minutes during key testimony. I'm just asking." "Why?" Murmurs again. Whittaker tapped his gavel once. "Order." But his eyes. They didn't hide the intrigue now. This wasn't a joke anymore, it was a chess match, and somehow, Judge Whittaker wasn't smiling anymore. He studied Lucas with a new kind of caution, like a man realizing the poker game he mocked might cost him everything. Lucas spoke softly, never dramatic, just precise. The arrest warrant was signed at 8:07 p.m. The footage shows the defendant already in cuffs by 7:52. A pause. Whittaker's finger hovered over the case file. "That can't be right. It's on the city's own time-stamped traffic cam. Page 12. The judge turned pale. He didn't admit it. "But in the..." Danner tried a new angle. "Where exactly did you study law, Lucas?" Lucas didn't flinch. "I didn't." The room blinked. "I read a lot. Public court records. Transcripts. Appeals. My uncle served time for something he didn't do. So I learned everything I could." Danner scoffed. "That's not law school." "No," Lucas said, "that's justice." The gallery sat frozen. A woman near the back whispered, "He's not bluffing." Lucas adjusted his notebook. "And just to clarify, your motion to dismiss the alibi?" The defendant, a construction worker named Manny Torres, had been silent this whole time. But now? His eyes were locked on Lucas like he was watching a miracle. Manny's public defender leaned over. "Kid, you sure about this?" Lucas nodded. You missed the traffic citation from the night of the robbery. Manny wasn't even in the city. The defender blinked. I didn't see that. Lucas slid a paper forward. I did. Even the stenographer paused mid-typing. Whitaker looked at the prosecution. Mr. It was no longer just a trial. It felt like a slow-burning movie scene, one you couldn't pause or predict. The gallery, packed with onlookers, leaned forward. Phones were tucked away. Nobody wanted to miss what Lucas would say next. He calmly stood and held up a parking ticket. This proves Manny's car was parked 2 miles away during the time of the robbery. Issued by Officer Brandt. Whitaker frowned. The same officer who testified he saw Manny fleeing the store? Lucas nodded. So unless off. Judge Whitaker adjusted his glasses, but not to read. He needed time to think. His authority, once ironclad, now felt fragile. Lucas flipped another page. Also, Exhibit G, a statement Officer Brandt gave in a separate case 3 months ago. Nearly identical language. The judge looked up. Copy-pasted testimonies? Lucas didn't answer. He didn't have to. Whitaker leaned back slowly, eyes scanning the courtroom. This wasn't a hearing anymore, this was an unmasking, and for the first time in 2D. Danner, red-faced and jittery, stood quickly. Your Honor, we can't take the word of an unlicensed teen who's poking holes in your airtight case. Lucas interrupted, without raising his voice, gasps. Even Whitaker didn't scold him. Lucas calmly walked to the projector. Let's play the footage. It was grainy, but clear enough to show a figure walking into a store, taller, bulkier, wearing a hoodie 3 sizes too big. Lucas pointed to the timestamp. 7:48 p.m., then he pointed to Manny. By the next recess, someone had tweeted about the teen lawyer taking down a real prosecutor. Within minutes, bloggers showed up. Then a local news crew. The bailiff whispered, "We've got cameras in the lobby." Whitaker groaned. Wonderful. Lucas stayed quiet, calmly reviewing notes. Manny leaned over. You sure you want to keep going? Lucas looked up, voice low. I didn't come this far to let lies win. Outside the courtroom, flashbulbs flickered. Inside, the tension was now national, and all. They called Officer Brandt to the stand again. Confident, smug, even casual. Until Lucas started asking questions. Why did your report omit the time you left your patrol route? I didn't leave it. Lucas clicked his pen. That's odd. GPS data from your cruiser says otherwise. Brandt blinked. Lucas handed over a document. Pulled from the city's own servers. Time-stamped. Silence. Want to revise your testimony, officer? Brandt's face tightened. Then crumbled. Maybe I got confused. Whita. As Brandt stepped down in shame, Whitaker leaned back, staring at Lucas. For a moment, he saw someone else, a memory, a boy, not much older than Lucas, wrongly sentenced in Whitaker's early years. A case that still haunted him. He clenched his jaw. Court will recess for 10 minutes. Lucas nodded, quietly packing his binder. Outside, the reporters swarmed. Inside, Whitaker walked slowly to chambers, weighed down by something heavier than age, regret. For the first time in years, he wasn't proud. As court resumed, Prosecutor Danner walked over to Lucas during a quiet moment. No cameras caught it. You've made your point, he said under his breath. Let's talk deal. Lucas didn't even look up. I'm not here for points. I'm here for the truth. Danner tried again. Drop this and you'll get an internship. Maybe even a scholarship. Lucas slowly turned to him. That's the difference between us. You think this is a career move. I think this is a man's life. Danner walked away, jaw tight, and the jury wasn't allowed to decide just yet, but you could see it in their eyes. The balance had shifted. Lucas called one last witness. Manny's co-worker. I was with him at 8 o'clock. He helped fix a broken lift. There's a signed log. Lucas placed the clipboard on the table like a mic drop. Judge Whitaker reviewed it. Then passed it to the prosecutor, who didn't even argue. He just nodded quietly. Lucas returned to his seat. The room was still. No more mockery, no more smirks, just a quiet, growing. Before the jury could even deliberate, Whitaker asked both parties to approach. Danner sighed, almost relieved. Your Honor, the state withdraws its case. Gasps. Cheers. Some tears. Manny slumped in his chair, overwhelmed. Lucas just stood still, gripping the edge of the table like it grounded him. Whitaker looked him dead in the eyes. I don't know who you really are, son. But I hope you never stop doing this. Lucas nodded, and just like that, the courtroom emptied, not with judgment, but why? Outside the courtroom, reporters swarmed, cameras flashing like fireworks. Lucas. Are you even legal to practice law? He gave a tired smile. No. But neither is lying under oath. The crowd erupted in laughter and applause. One journalist shouted, "What's next for you?" Lucas didn't answer. He just turned to Manny, who was hugging his crying daughter, and said, "This is next." Whitaker watched from the second-floor railing above, arms crossed. He didn't smile. But his eyes were softer now. Lee. Later that evening, a clip aired online. Lucas, standing in front of the courthouse, wind in his hoodie, answering calmly, "No, I'm not a lawyer. But I believe justice doesn't need a license to be defended." That single sentence caught fire. Within hours, 3 million views. By morning, 10, commenters called him the boy who beat the bar, courtroom prodigy, modern-day Atticus. Law schools started reaching out, talk shows wanted interviews, but Lucas didn't chase any of it. He turned off his. 2 days later, a plain envelope arrived at Lucas's doorstep, no return address. Just his name, inside. A handwritten letter on court stationery. Lucas, I once believed only the system could deliver justice. You reminded me that sometimes, it needs to be shaken by those outside of it, if you ever want a formal mentor. I'm here, Judge Whitaker. Lucas read it twice. Then tucked it carefully into his notebook, the same one that had carried him through the trial. He didn't cry. But he did star. Late at night, Lucas sat at the kitchen table, flipping through court files by lamplight. His mom walked in, wrapped in a shawl, holding 2 mugs of cocoa. You saved someone's life, she whispered. Lucas shook his head. I just pointed to what was already broken. She smiled softly. And made people look. His phone buzzed again, another unknown number. He silenced it. This wasn't about fame. It was about truth. He looked down at the notebook. New names. New cases. The system had cracks. But N.